Well, hello there, Breakfast Club. Welcome to Thursday's edition with Got That Funk. Thank you for joining me. Nice to be here on my regular day on time for a change. Anyway, I wanted to thank Nathan Brendan Masters for his video yesterday called Trump Treason, where he explored some of the reasons why people are talking about treason and Donald Trump emanating from Monday's summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. I thought Nathan made a lot of great points, one of which I want to expound on right now. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable to me that Trump even thought he could get away with saying he said would when he meant to say wouldn't. I mean, all by itself, that is sophistry that you wouldn't put up with from your wife or your husband, right? I mean, I promised I would always be faithful. Oh, I meant wouldn't. You're right. Anyway, and this whole concept, Chuck Schumer asked Trump to walk something else back as well recently, and this whole idea that you can just walk something back and then just carry on as if you never made that kind of a mistake. I think, if you're raising kids or something and you don't want to be too strict, I can kind of maybe see that, but we're talking about the President of the United States. I don't think it's at all unreasonable for someone of such an elevated position to be expected to say what he means and means what he says. That's what Donald Trump should do. We should expect that of him. We should hold every president, he or she, to such a standard. Simple as that. You can't treat the president like a child. It's unbelievable to me that this type of thing is even contemplated as legitimate. Anyway, so there's that. But Nathan said something in his video yesterday about the contradiction between saying that, the whole wouldn't thing, and then him going on to say that, Vladimir Putin was very strong and powerful in his denial. That's an exact quote. Strong and powerful in his denial. That was his explanation for why he believed Putin over the intelligence services. You can't just change one word and say that you meant the opposite of what you spoke at the time anyway. That's absurd. But even if you could just try to get away with changing one word, it wasn't just one word that was the problem, man. And that's not the whole point of this, of why I think this meeting on Monday was such a bad idea. As I spoke about last week, the private meeting that happened before the press conference was definitely a bad idea for reasons I'll explore in a little while here, hopefully. But as far as the press conference itself was concerned, I mean, I'm not even a fan of Donald Trump, but I can give him a few things. Donald Trump knows how to carry himself in front of an audience most of the time. And next to Vladimir Putin on Monday, he looked scared. He looked deferential, demure even at some points, and apologetic. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And it's not just that I couldn't believe it that makes me think, oh, this was treason, that was treason. And he definitely qualified, what he said definitely qualifies as giving aid and comfort to the enemy. And the enemy, in this case, being defined as someone who attacked our elections, which is something that Donald Trump says that he was trying to acknowledge. Well, if you acknowledge that they tried to attack our elections, then by definition, you understand that they are our enemy. And if they are our enemy, you're not supposed to be giving them aid and comfort. You're not supposed to be making life easier for Vladimir Putin. You're Donald fucking Trump. You're the president of the United States. You're supposed to be making life easier for Americans and not caring about how it affects Vladimir Putin, one way or the other, So, inherently, his performance suggested that he wanted to do favors for Putin. Now, lots of people have been speculating ever since the 2016 election that Donald Trump has been compromised by in some way or another, like in a blackmail sort of sense of the word. And that's something which I understand the reasons why people say it, but from my point of view, I haven't seen enough evidence to really know much about that, other than to say, well, maybe. The whole PP tape thing, for example, Stephen Colbert likes to joke about that. And, I think the PP tape may or may not exist. I also honestly think, though, with everything Donald Trump's gotten away with, that he probably wouldn't be so worried about a PP tape. So it occurs to me, what could Vladimir Putin hold over him? And, Trump has actually painted himself into a corner, and it works like this. Vladimir Putin may or may not have successfully installed Trump as president. You know, the interference to whatever degree and whatever means they used to do it may or may not have put Trump in the presidency. It doesn't even matter to the point I'm about to make, because Putin is in a position to know that all he has to do is say that he did that, and he'll fuck Trump. It doesn't matter whether he did it or not. And so all by itself, the dynamic between these two men inherently favors Vladimir Putin. Inherently. And from what we saw from Trump's performance on Monday, it seemed clear to Trump that he knew that Vladimir Putin had him over a barrel. Now, my main objections to the summit on Monday, in terms of what happened in that press conference anyway, really emanate from Vladimir Putin himself. When he was asked point blank, did you want Donald Trump to become president, and did you order your people to try to make that happen? Vladimir Putin said, yes, he did. What more do you need than that? Yes, I did. Boom. So anyway, sorry, I had to take a quick break there. Anyway, my overall point is that Vladimir Putin is in a position to, he doesn't even have to have the goods on Trump, because people will be prepared to believe that he does, and we won't be in a position to be able to respond in any way effectively against Putin. If Putin says, yeah, that's right, I got Donald Trump elected, and yeah, that's right, I'm fucking with your elections in 2018, what are you going to do about it? We'd be stupid to go to war with Russia. It's that simple. So what could we do about it? So he's in a pretty strong position right now. He knows he's got Trump over a barrel. All by itself, that gives him undue leverage over our commander-in-chief, over the president of the United States, who's supposed to have the interests of America and Americans at heart. It's an inherently dangerous situation. We need to impeach Trump. There's plenty of reasons to do so. And we could either pick one or all, or even, for my money, we could even at this point try to invoke the 25th Amendment, because Trump does not seem to be playing with the full deck of cards at this point. And as president, that's just too dangerous to allow to continue. I wouldn't relish the idea of Mike Pence as president, but we can't continue like this. And if it turns out, frankly, that Donald Trump wouldn't be president were it not for the interference provided by the Russians, we'd be in uncharted territory there, because I know for a fact that even though the Constitution makes no such provision, there would be an awful lot of people saying that they should just install Hillary Clinton as president because she had the election stolen from her. And that would be unprecedented, and like I say, there's no mechanism for that in the Constitution. We would be in a constitutional crisis, you know, if it turned out that Putin got Trump in office. It would also therefore be the case that Putin got Pence in office. Even if Pence had nothing to do with it, he wouldn't be where he is if Trump wasn't where he was. So it's a bridge I hope we don't have to cross. I hope we can just impeach Trump, have Pence for like 2 years or whatever, and then get rid of these clowns. Normally, I'm not the type of person who says, you know, vote blue or vote this or vote that necessarily across the board, but the times are different right now. It really almost doesn't matter at this point. These people are running the country into the ground, and we can't allow that to happen. We can't let them succeed in doing it. We've got to come together as Americans and realize that what is good for the many is something that we need to strive for. It's all very well, you know, trying to do well for yourself. But if we all help each other out, we can accomplish an awful lot of good things. That's just my opinion. But we can't do that when we've got an enemy literally squatting over us, taking a shit all over us. And that's what's going on right now with Donald Trump. I feel that way as an expat. I can't even imagine what it's like to be living there right now, paying attention to all this stuff and just going, oh my God, what's happened to my country? You know, it's hard enough for me over here. Anyway, I would like to invite a vigorous discussion in the comments section down below. Hit me with whatever you've got, your ideas, your speculations, your complaints. I can take it. I think tomorrow on The Breakfast Club, we're going to have Joe, Serious Mind, back for a guest slot. It's always nice to have Joe back on The Breakfast Club. And whether he talks about this topic or not, I will not know until I see the video myself. So I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, let's talk down below, and I'll see you again next week. Peace.